a village of Bama lived a popular food vendor called Bisi. Bisi was a beautiful woman, popularly known in the village for delicious and tasty meals. She had a food store at the village market. Bisi was very proud of her cooking and always wanted to make sure she was the best cook in the whole village. Everyone sang praises of how tasty Bisi's food was, and she had customers trooping in and out from every part of the village, including women, children, and most especially married men. You know the secret and strange thing about Bisi's food? Whenever a married man tastes Bisi's food, they will never want to have a taste of their wife's meal at home. They all gathered every day at Bisi's restaurant to eat her food. Almost all the married men in the village preferred Bisi's food to their wife's food. Most times, when their wives serve them food at home, they will say, "No, I cannot eat this food. The food is not as delicious as Bisi's. You have to learn how to cook like Bisi because I cannot be eating poison when Bisi's restaurant is there." This continued to happen in almost all the households in the village. All the married men no longer ate their wives' food. They now prefer Bisi's food for breakfast, lunch, and even dinner. This was causing a lot of misunderstanding in their homes. The men even went as far as telling their wives to go to Bisi and learn how to cook from her, because they all wondered how Bisi made her food so tasty and delicious. The wives of these married men could no longer take it, so they decided to have a meeting to find out what they could do to make their husbands come back and start eating their meals again. As they gathered in the village streets, they started asking each other, "What do you think we should do, my fellow women?" One woman said, "I think we should go and find out what Bisi uses in her meal that our husbands no longer eat from us." Another woman suggested that Bisi might have a secret ingredient that she uses for cooking, and they should go and spy on her. After deliberating for some time, they decided that spying on her was not the solution. Instead, they will humbly go to Bisi's restaurant and beg her to please stop serving their husband's food whenever they visited her restaurant. They all agreed to beg Bisi, and so they headed to Bisi's restaurant to speak with her. When they arrived at Bisi's restaurant, they started to speak to her. One of the women said, "Bisi, please, we are here to beg you. We know you know how to cook very well. You are the best cook in the village. We are not doubting that, but please, we are here to beg you to please stop serving our husband meals. Whenever our husbands come to your restaurant, please, can you direct them back home to eat our meals instead? Our husbands no longer eat from us, and it is affecting our marriages. We have come to you as women to please help us in this situation." Bisi responded, "What do you mean by that? Are you saying I should chase away my customers because you want your husband to eat in your house? Am I the one that said you shouldn't know how to cook? Did I drag your husband to my restaurant to eat my food? Please, if you don't have anything meaningful to say, leave my restaurant. I'm a very busy person." The women continued to plead with Bisi, but she chased them all away, telling them to go and figure out how to hold their husbands and not come back to disturb her again. The women left Bisi's restaurant, feeling frustrated and disappointed. They were so helpless and didn't know what to do, so they decided to go back home, hoping that one day the secret of Bisi's meal would be revealed and their husband would come back to them. Bisi's business continued to flourish, with more and more customers trooping in and out, to the extent that almost all the men gathered at her restaurant every day. A particular married woman in the village called Adola, whose marriage was not even up to 6 months old, started having issues in her home. Do you know why? Because her husband had started eating Bisi's meal. From the very first day her husband tasted Bisi's food, he no longer ate the wife's meal anymore. Adola was wondering what could be going on.
Confronted her husband. "You have been eating my food since we got married, but ever since you ate that woman's food, life has never been the same in this house. You have refused eating my food, always giving me one excuse or the other." But her husband simply told her that he was not interested in her food anymore. This got her upset and angry. "So you mean I will spend hours in the kitchen cooking for you, only for you to tell me that you are no longer interested in eating my food? Do you know what you are doing is going to cause our marriage to fail?" But her husband did not even mind as long as he was enjoying Bisi's food. Adiola was worried. She thought about it and thought about her marriage. What will people say that my husband abandoned me because of another woman's food? I have to do something. An idea quickly got to her head.
So she decided to go and see her father in the neighboring village to tell him everything that has been happening. She said to herself, "I cannot take this anymore. My marriage is not even up to 6 months old, and now my husband no longer eats my food. I will talk to my father to help me. The thing is that Adola's father was a strong spiritualist who has power to foresee things, and so Adola set out to the neighboring village to speak with her father. When she got there, she said to her father, Baba, your daughter is not happy. My husband no longer eats my food. There is a popular food vendor in the village of Bama that my husband now enjoys eating from, and this is causing a lot of problem in my marriage. Baba, please help your daughter. I am begging you, or else I am on the verge of losing my marriage. And not only me, the other women in the village all have the same complaint. Adola's father was quiet for some time and looked at the daughter's worried face. Don't worry, my daughter. I will help you find a solution to your problem. I will help you restore your marriage and the marriages of those women in the village of Bama. And so he set out to work immediately. He consulted his oracle and saw that BC was a strong case to handle, so he decided to visit the restaurant himself. Adola's father arrived at BC's restaurant, and immediately his eyes locked onto BC's smile. He knew that BC was aware of who he was. BC said to Adola's father, Ah, Baba, you are welcome to my restaurant. You are just in time for a special treat. My food is the most delicious in the village. BC held a steaming bowl of her famous food, and Adola's father's stomach growled in anticipation. His mouth was watery, and he wanted to have a taste of this food that has such a beautiful aroma, but he knew better than to accept her offer. Adola's father now said to her, You are busy, right? I need to speak with you. And BC responded with a smile, Of course, Baba. I'm always happy to help. But first, let me offer you a bowl of my delicious food. Once you taste my food, you will never be the same again. Baba stopped her halfway and said to her, The main reason why I am here is for you to confess, BC. You know what you have been doing in this village, and I'm here to make sure your secret is being exposed. If you don't confess, you will regret it. BC stared at him and started being harsh to Adiola's father. And she said to him, Baba, I don't know what you are talking about. In this restaurant, all we do here is to sell delicious meal, and I'm sure you have heard about me by now, so I don't know what you are saying. Don't come to my store to accuse me wrongly. If you want to eat, please eat. If not, don't spoil my business. Just get up and leave. Adiola's father responded to BC, BC, I am warning you for the last time. You are causing so much pain in marriages. Through your food, men no longer eat their wife's food. Confess now before I make it an open case. BC responded, You are just being too paranoid, old man. What is all this talk about me holding on to people's husband? Am I the one that told their wives not to know how to cook? I don't know what you are talking about. Adiola's father saw how stubborn BC was, so he decided to perform a silent incantation to get BC to confess. Immediately he touched BC. She started screaming and shouting, I am sorry, I am sorry. Yes, yes, I will confess. I have been using my menstrual flow to make meals to get all the married men in the village to like only my food. BC began narrating why she started using her menstrual flow. She explained that long ago, she was a lady in her late 40s looking for a husband. All the suitors that came for her turned her down because of her size. The most painful part was that her younger and slimmer sisters, even in the village, started mocking her. The worst incident was when a suitor came to ask for her hand in marriage. When the suitor arrived, he suddenly decided not to marry her anymore and instead chose a slim girl from the crowd. Instead of supporting her, the villagers started mocking her, saying that she was cursed and would never get a husband who will love her because of this. BC decided to visit a spiritualist who told her to use her menstrual flow in the local pot she was holding and add it to the meals she cooked every day. The spiritualist told her that any married man in the village who ate her food would never want to eat his wife's food again, and that is why most of the married men in the village of Bama no longer ate their wife's food but preferred BC's food. After confession, BC began pleading with the villagers to forgive her, saying she was frustrated and in pain, which was why she went into this evil act. The villagers were furious and began chanting BC's name, threatening to burn her alive, chased her away and forbade her from ever stepping foot in Bama again. BC was banished from the village of Bama. That was how the secret of BC's meal was exposed. The moral of this story is that we should all be careful of what we eat and where we eat, especially if we are not sure of the source of the meal. Secondly, we shouldn't repay evil with evil. Everything in life happens for a reason, and even when things go wrong, we should not go to the extreme to cause more harm to ourselves and others. Karma always had a way of coming back to them. The married men in the village of Bama finally went back to their wives, pleaded with them to forgive them because they were under a spell which they didn't know. The wives were so happy to have their husband back. At least finally, our husbands can now eat our food. After that incident, the people of Bama became extremely careful about eating outside. Most times, whenever they want to go to the farm, their wives prepare their food and put them in an airtight container for their husbands to eat whenever they are hungry instead of visiting any restaurant. In fact, because of the incident, the few restaurants in the village of Bama really had a low turnout of events because most men do not patronize them anymore. They prefer to eat from home, which is more hygienic and even more safer than eating from an unknown source, which you don't even know how they prepared it.